Hello everybody. In this video, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the pipelines that we build for staffing and recruitment agencies. We typically build it and manage it for them. In some cases, we might just build and release, but typically we like to do it for them, saves them time. We're also good at what we do. And this one put added $37,000 in pipeline last week for a active client of ours. And so we'll build this and tailor this to each agency depending on their vertical and how they like things and so on and so forth. But this is a quick overview. I've blocked out some of this stuff. I just took a screenshot for proof, but I blocked out, of course, sensitive information. But long story short, this is a senior level position. This is quite regular. Well, depending on the agency's vertical, of course. And so, at about a 20% fee, you're looking at about a 40 grand, 40 to 40 grand deal there. So pretty average stuff. Scheduled the meeting in for them. So it's really good. And I won't go through each of these things. In fact, I'll just go into Clay and show you what this actually looks like. But this is just a high level overview, right? The biggest thing about getting leads for staffing and recruitment agencies is volume. Right, it's volume, because there's a ton of staffing and recruitment agencies. No matter how different you want to make them seem, at the end of the day, they are staffing and recruitment agencies, and so a lot of it is being able to compete on volume and setting up your workflow and your pipeline so that you can compete on volume. And I think that's where most traditional lead generation agencies fail. They're not really building pipelines. They're just trying to scrape leads, and so they don't optimize for volume, and so that's where they lose, right? So I think one of the biggest things is to try and optimize. If you're going to optimize anything, optimize for volume so that you can maximize volume and be able to send as close to 1,000 emails per day as possible. And just note that you're probably going to, after everything is cleaned properly, you're going to end up with about 10% in emails sent versus the amount of jobs that you have actually scraped if you are going for that type of campaign where you're scraping open jobs, right? And there's different types of campaigns. I've covered this in a previous video. There's high intent campaigns, so you're going after active public job postings. And then there's prospecting as well, so you go after, previous successful clients and case studies, previously engaged prospects, fresh prospects, so on and so forth. So this is a high level overview, but with that being said, volume is the number one thing. If you're going to take away anything in here, it's volume. And well, let's jump into Clay. But yeah, this pipeline, again, we build these pipelines to complement staffing agencies, what they're already doing. If they already have SDRs, well, then this pipeline gets their SDRs more leads and they can focus on closing. If they primarily do cold calling, well, then we set this up for cold email. No staffing and recruitment agency, or very rarely are they primarily doing cold email. So we either bring them a totally new stream here of leads, meetings, whatever you want to call it, client acquisition, or we're complementing their current process. So either way, it can always coexist. But anyway, so let's jump into Clay, and this is like, this is, we're looking at 6 figures a month in pipeline here, right? Of course, it depends on the agency and their vertical, and some agencies are hyper specific about who they want to speak to. But I mean, this is very normal. So anyway, let's jump into. By the way, just to give you an idea of how fast this works in pipeline on demand, like the infrastructure was already warmed. Client didn't need to wait 3 weeks. We were up and running within 14 days, and then within 2 weeks of launch and iteration, we started bringing them this kind of stuff. So it's quite quick. But anyway, let's jump into Clay. I'll give you a high level overview. Perhaps we'll discuss prompts in a more in-depth video because I want to keep this efficient for the sake of time. So I have a couple of tables here and they're linked, right? So this table scrapes jobs from Clay, and it does this automatically a few times a day. And so, this scrapes for different verticals because of how we've tailored it to the client, our client. They operate in a few different verticals. So this scrapes, and so we're always first to market on jobs that have been posted that are, within their ideal client profile, of course. We confirm that these are not other staffing firms because we don't want to be reaching out to them as well. And then we make sure that we have the actual company domain. From there, we'll take the company domain, we'll prop it into Apollo, and we'll scrape people who work at those companies based on the ideal positions that we're targeting. Some positions are better to target than others, depending on vertical, depending on capacity of the staffing agency, so on and so forth, how many case studies they have. So we really tailor it and build a really custom pipeline. Again, this is an overall playbook, but this looks rather different. It actually looks more like this once it's all said and done. If we're talking about infrastructure, offer, how we help tailor the pipeline around the offer, lead list, and how we scale it and who we go after, the copy that we use. Some clients like to be more hands-on. Sometimes we'll just write it for them based on scripts that have worked for us in the past, how we manage the campaigns. Like, this is all what goes into the pipeline as well, right? So this is what allows it to be so lucrative for our client, and they don't have to worry about like being tactful or strategic. We just have a pipeline, we just give it to them, we manage it for them, right? So it's like it's nice and easy, really, really lucrative for both parties. But anyway, so we're in Apollo, we scrape Apollo. Again, this is on demand stuff, right? We're not praying and spraying. It's hyper targeted, hyper precise, first to market. So we're already beating out, traditional lead gen agencies who are slow to the curb and who aren't precise with this, right? All of this is verified 10 times over about who we're targeting. So we beat other lead gen agencies just because they can't operate as fast because of the way we use AI. They aren't nearly as precise based on the way we use AI and how deep and in depth we can go. And also, we are former recruiters myself included. So there's that. Anyway, so we scrape Apollo, and then we have a custom table built. And once we import the Apollo leads, there we go. And forgive me for the lag. I'm sure this is lagging, but I'm not looking at myself right now. Anyway, so we import the contacts here, and then we validate the email address to make sure the email address is actually active. And then we have this linked to the previous table, the original table, so that each person in here, based on their company, can be matched to the other table. And then we pull all that job information into this table now. So once that's pulled in, then we'll do some cleanup here, and we'll verify everything like 5 times over. So we'll make sure the job title is nice and cleaned. How likely is this person to actually be the decision maker for this role? We score them from 1 to 10. And again, this pipeline, this is the pipeline. It looks different for each client based on what they want. And sometimes we'll pull bullet points from the job descriptions to tailor our copy. So we'll pull highlights, but we've turned that off for this client. Sometimes we just have copies that are ready to go, which is the case in here. So this is hyper efficient. Ideally, we want to make this as quick as possible so that we can constantly be sending new emails and get them leads pretty much on a daily basis. Cleaning the company name as well. So that's how we do it here. And I'll show you another one. I'll show you another one. This is more niche specific than the other one. So same sort of thing. We had already had another table with jobs, and then these are the contacts now. And so in this pipeline that we built, again, we double confirm that they're not a staffing firm. We confirm that these are the roles within the niche we want. We double confirm that this is the decision maker most likely, and we only target either 7 or 8 and up. Clean the job title, confirm that it's in the salary range that we want, we outline the vertical, and then we'll do a manual spot check as well to make sure it's not some crazy vertical that our client doesn't want to deal with, and make sure that we match the candidate based on some pre-written copy that we have. So we're always just pitching really, really strong candidates. So at the end of the day, this stuff really prevents our clients from getting on calls with people that they don't want to be dealing with, people who aren't decision makers, people who are just so outside of the vertical, right? So we've taken this and we've built this into a really well-oiled machine. And again, it's optimized for volume, so we can do this faster than 99.9% of traditional lead generation agencies out there, more precise. And, we're not just getting you like leads here. We have a full machine built for you that you can then run yourself. Sometimes we'll just give them the SOPs and documents, but again, typically we'll manage it for them, and then they'll have stuff like this coming in multiple times a week, right? So This is a small mom and pop operation. I'll post this case study as well. I'm actually going to be speaking with them today, and we'll probably be doing the interview today. So if you see it and you watch this video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I'll put up the client case study interview ASAP. And is this a recording sound? Let me just make sure. Yeah, it is. Okay. But that's really it. So that's how we do pipeline on demand for staffing and recruitment agencies, and they get full visibility and everything. But we've thought this through clearly, quite thoroughly. We've tested it. We've refined it. And we just win because we can do it faster and at a higher volume than anybody else, and more precise than anybody else. And the copy is tailored exactly for the roles we go after and the clients we go after. In terms of like the copy we use and how we pitch candidates, it's just best in class. So anyway, that is all. So if you run any sort of marketing or lead generation agency, or you're thinking of building pipelines like this, I mean, I'll talk about prompts in a different video, but this is how we go about it. And yeah, we can pull in thousands of jobs like within seconds, and then just get this going. And within the hour, everything's cleaned up and ready to go with emails. So we'll run this every day, right? And just keep the leads going, coming in, getting booked on autopilot for our clients. So that's how we do that. And feel free to model this for yourselves. And if you run a staffing and recruitment agency and you'd like to get more leads, meetings, things like that, I'll leave the link in my description. I'll leave the link in the description below this video, so you can just book a strategy call with myself, and we can see if the math makes sense for you. All right. And if you would like this stuff, then I will include it as a freebie in the description below. All right. And you can just fill out the Google form, and I'll send it directly to your email inbox. All right. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.